This week on Christian World News, Iraqi troops battle to get rid of ISIS once and for all. But that means thousands of families are now fleeing for their lives. Plus, international students come to the U.S. every day in search of a better education. See how they're finding Christ in an unexpected place. And millions of people around the world are in chains. Learn about the heartbreaking reality of human trafficking and how churches are stepping in to stop it. Welcome to Christian World News. I'm Jessica Chaco. Iraq's armed forces are fighting to drive ISIS out of Mosul, but the terror group is desperate to keep its hold on the city. As Chris Mitchell reports, thousands are fleeing Mosul and seeking safety in refugee camps in northern Iraq, where Christian groups are waiting to help them.
Already, thousands of refugees have tried to escape the ISIS rampage across Iraq. It's a trickle that could become a flood. Behind me is one of the many refugee camps throughout northern Iraq. 20,000 people live in this one alone, with another 30,000 in the vicinity. But experts warn when the city of Mosul falls, it could represent the greatest refugee crisis in decades.
There's a lot of potential for this to be catastrophic on the human scale.
Matthew Nowry leads Samaritan's Purse in northern Iraq. He says the internally displaced persons, or IDPs, coming out of Mosul today are different from the refugees who fled ISIS in the summer of 2014.
The IDPs that are going to be coming out of Mosul have lived 2+ years under the control of ISIS. And so they've seen what I believe is the worst terrorism the world has ever seen. And they have been influenced by ISIS.
He says that makes this humanitarian effort far more dangerous.
When you talk about 1 million+ people being displaced all over the desert here in Iraq, it doesn't take long for you to understand that there will be ISIS cells in those groups of people, in those groupings, which brings in a whole new set of challenges.
Despite the danger, he sees the crisis as an opportunity for the church, especially with the young people.
These youth have been watching ISIS for the last 2 years, and they know what they're being taught by ISIS. And they're about to be displaced into the region, and they're going to be watching to see who receives them and who serves them. And so we have taken it upon ourselves as an organization, and we believe that Jesus commands us to give a glass of cold water to our enemy and to serve. And so we want to be there. We want to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ when these children and when these adults, whether it is cells of ISIS or not.
Nowry says what's needed most now is prayer.
The situation is incredibly complex. And I'd ask the church back in America, in the West, first and foremost to pray. We don't have all of the answers. We don't know how to remain completely secure. This is a dangerous calling. But I'd ask for prayers for the people themselves that are going to be displaced, that God would soften their hearts now, that they'd be receptive to the message that so many of Jesus' followers are going to be out in the desert here in Iraq trying to provide.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Northern Iraq.
As the Iraqi army drives ISIS out of villages near Mosul, some Christians are returning to their homes. Most recently, they came back to a liberated village in Karamallis. The church bell at St. Adai Church tolled for the first time in more than 2 years during a tearful Sunday service. ISIS damaged the church badly, lighting prayer benches on fire, desecrating a tomb, and shattering glass throughout. Even as the congregation struggled to find hope for the future, they sang a hymn about the light of God. Their priest reminded them, quote, "God is always giving us light to spread, peace and love and rebuilding." Turning to the Asian nation of Indonesia, where 4 children were injured when their church was firebombed. Police say the children aged 2 to 4 years old suffered burn injuries. A man riding on a motorbike threw the bomb at the church. He was later captured. TV images showed him wearing a shirt with the words "Jihad, way of life." Police in Indonesia have brought blasphemy charges against the Christian governor of their capital city. In 2014, Basuki Purnama was appointed the first Christian governor of Jakarta. Extremists in the world's most populous Muslim country say the Quran prohibits them from being governed by a non-Muslim. Campaigning for election, Basuki recently said militant Muslims have misinterpreted the Quran. Comments led to the blasphemy charge and extremists taking to the streets. CBN News Asia correspondent Lucille Toulousan explains the politics behind the case.
Mr. Purnama used to be a Sunday school teacher. So he's a very committed Christian, and he has a stance against corruption. He is popular for, having that stance against corruption and also having this reformist policies. And so he's very popular, and he could even win the gubernatorial election in February.
Basuki can still run for governor, but he could face up to 5 years in prison if convicted for blasphemy. For more on this story, go to the Global Lane at cbnnews.com. Well, Franklin Graham held a 3-day gospel festival in Myanmar this week. It's a historic event for the mostly Buddhist nation. In Yangon, Graham told CBN that a lot has changed since he first visited the country in the 1980s.
To come today and to see the country changing and to see people having freedoms that they did not have 20, 30 years ago, I rejoice. And so as I come this week, I'm coming just to preach a very simple gospel, that God loves us. He loves all the people of Myanmar.
440 churches took part in the Myanmar event. Well, up next, these international students come to the U.S. searching for a good education. See how their lives are being transformed by the gospel along the way.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Well, students from across the world come to America to study in our colleges and universities. Christian ministries on campus are reaching out to these international visitors, helping them overcome loneliness and culture shock by offering friendship and the comfort of Christ. Mengfei Li explains.
Laughter, games, food, and fun. For Esther and Mark, Friday nights are about more than just eating a free dinner at church. They come for a special purpose. Thousands of Chinese students come to the United States for advanced education. Fresh off the boat, many are professed atheists, but some are finding Christ through campus ministries. According to InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, in 2015, more than 304,000 Chinese were enrolled in American colleges and universities. 12% of them accepted Christ. Regent University student Li Xiang struggled with culture shock after arriving in Virginia Beach.
Loneliness was totally unavoidable for me. No matter how hard I tried to keep myself busy, I just felt empty. Then, I was invited to a church dinner on Friday nights. It felt strange that the people there shared an amazing dinner with me and started to talk to me as friends and buddies.
CBN News joined some members of Agape Chinese Church. As they handed out tracts at a Washington, D.C. park, their main focus was to invite foreign students to church. Contemporary music is an important part of their outreach. Some people passed by at the park were deeply touched by their passionate performance for Jesus. Singer Jose Para welcomes the partnership with Chinese American Christians.
We have been praying for years to have a church, Chinese community on our side, and capable to communicate the gospel to them. So this year, we have that community church that is actually helping us to share the gospel with tourists that are coming from China. They speak only Chinese, straight Chinese.
Church leaders believe music is one way to bridge the gap with the foreign college students.
Many students told me they have never heard of this type of music. Although they don't know Jesus, they can sit there quietly to listen and feel the music. They love those songs.
Over time, the Christians established relationships with the students. As a result, they became more willing to discuss faith and the Bible. The students' lives changed because church members ministered to them and helped them understand the Christian faith.
I've never thought about the word sin. The more I read about it, the more questions I had. I even compared Christianity with other religions. When I got really confused, I tried to pray like other Christians do. I just felt God was next to me, and church leaders began to explain more to me. The purpose of this ministry is to allow Chinese millennials to know Jesus. They're living in the U.S. and they will face trials and uncertainties. Our church provides help to them, and we want them to feel the same love that Jesus gave us all.
And share that love with others once they return home.
As a church, we want to use our resources to change the Chinese young people right here in the U.S. God gave us a mission to make disciples of all people, all races, and all nations.
Mengfei Li, CBN News, Manassas, Virginia.
Daniel Ortega, socialist, has been re-elected to his third term as president of Nicaragua. But what's more surprising is the growing strength of the evangelical church in that South American nation. Javier Bolanos has more.
It is not surprising that Daniel Ortega has been re-elected for a third consecutive term as president of Nicaragua. Most people here are resigned to letting him govern the country as he pleases. At the end of his new term, this socialist will have had a total of 15 consecutive years in power. He previously governed Nicaragua for another 10 years during the 80s, when he led the Sandinista revolution. At that time, Nicaragua was involved in a civil war against the Contras, who were funded by the United States. Today, the new generation has forgotten or didn't live through the horrors of that war. Many are grateful to Ortega for the country's important economic growth in the last decade. The Evangelical Church of Nicaragua has also experienced significant growth. Traditionally a Catholic country, the nation's Christian leaders claim that half of the population is now evangelical.
The church has grown more than any other year. Right now we are almost 60% of the 6 million population, and we are a force to be reckoned with. We are no longer a little insignificant church hidden from society. Now we are a part of all levels of society.
And they are influencing government. Even the First Lady refers to God in her speeches. She is the nation's official spokesperson and now is the Vice President-elect. But actions speak louder than words. Concerned about the strength of the evangelical population, authorities are restricting their activities.
This is the Bible Plaza in the center of Managua, the place where the Evangelical Church wanted to pray to the Lord for the presidential elections, but the Nicaraguan government denied permission for praying here.
According to Mauricio Fonseca, president of the Nicaraguan Evangelical Alliance, Christians wanted to gather in the plaza peacefully to pray for the elections. But the government feared the meetings would turn into political rallies, supporting opposition candidate evangelical pastor Saturnino Serrato.
They thought that we were going to take Reverend Saturnino Serrato there and give the event a political twist, but that wasn't our intent.
Weeks before, the government restricted foreign missionaries from entering the country. Evangelical leaders like Pastor and Congressman Guillermo Osorno supported the action.
Nicaragua is the safest country in Central America and the second safest in Latin America, if I'm not mistaken. The government wants to maintain that security in this country.
Former Assemblies of God Superintendent Saturnino Serrato ran as an opposition candidate in the election. He told CBN News he'll denounce any illegal activity in Ortega's government.
I'm not afraid. I haven't been afraid, and I will not be afraid.
Nicaragua's Christian leaders are asking Christians around the world to pray for their nation.
Unámonos. Let's unite, support each other, and be strong in Christ, because that's how we will bring the kingdom of God down to earth. Let us never make a habit of criticizing a brother in Christ.
Javier Bolaños, CBN News, Managua, Nicaragua.
Coming up, human trafficking is one of the darkest practices of our time. See how the church is on the front lines of the fight to end modern-day slavery.
In the beginning was the Word.
From CBN, The Gospel of John. Read by Pat Robertson.
For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son.
Let the spoken Word of God transform your mind and increase your faith. Receive the power of God's life-giving Word. The Gospel of John. Read by Pat Robertson. Available now.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Welcome back to Christian World News. More than 40 million people worldwide are victims of some type of slavery. An estimated 12 million of them are children. Many Americans see this as an international issue, but sex trafficking is a major and heartbreaking problem right here in the U.S. And that's leading churches to fight back in some very unique ways.
When I first heard about the whole concept of human trafficking, that a child literally would be sold for sex, my heart broke.
The harsh reality of it happening in his city forced this pastor to take action.
The scripture says that we must rescue the perishing, we must hold back those going to slaughter, we must speak up for the defenseless, the widow, the orphan.
Pastor Philip O'Reilly's answer to that challenge is called Run to Stop It. The annual event encourages his church, the Rock of KC, to use the city's 5K and half marathons as a way to spread awareness and raise money to fight human trafficking.
We've got people who were never runners before that are now running. We have one guy that didn't run, and now he's doing like 30-mile runs and longer. It's pretty amazing.
Also impressive, the amount of money raised for the cause.
We were able to give him a check, Exodus Cry, a check for $100,000. It was awesome.
The Rock of KC partnered with Exodus Cry because of its commitment to help abolish slavery through Christ-centered prevention, intervention, and holistic restoration.
We used to say there's 27 million people in slavery today, and a recent statistic came out that said, well, it's actually more like 46 million. And so the numbers, I mean, who can know? I mean, there's a cultural phenomenon.
Exodus Cry President Benjamin Nolo says traffickers use metro areas like Kansas City as major hubs for their operations.
There was a trafficking ring busted right here in our backyard. 16 massage parlors were shut down because it was a Chinese trafficking ring bringing girls through. So there are all kinds of different expressions of trafficking happening right here in the midst of the Bible Belt amongst the mega churches and everything else.
That's why Nolo's group infiltrates those places to find victims held in bondage. All the more reason why the Rock of KC and its members run to stop it.
When I run, oftentimes I think about what I'm running for. And so yeah, it gives you motivation.
First of all, we want to stop the slavery itself. But then secondly, we want to restore those who have been affected by the slavery. So it's not just, hey, let's stop it and okay, you're free, but it's stop it and hey, let's work the inside issues out. Let's restore you to, your God-given gifts in life.
It's grueling. I've done the half marathon, so the 13 miles, and the training for it just is terrible when you're running down the road and you want to stop. But that's what I think about is I'm not going through half the amount of pain that these girls are probably going through right now.
While Nolo is grateful for support, he says more than one congregation needs to join the fight.
And I just thank God for Rock of KC Church because they've been awakened to this. They see it and they're like, we can't just do nothing about this. And they've really put all their chips in, so to speak, to really commit themselves to make a difference in this issue. And that's so huge. We need the local church to step up like that for us to be able to eradicate this injustice.
We've got to put a stop to this. We've got to say enough. We've got to say not in our city, not in our nation, not in our world. We've got to stand up and tell the darkness, you aren't going to keep doing this without a fight.
You can spread the good news of how God is at work in the world. Simply go to this story at cbnnews.com and share it with your family and friends on Facebook. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Pat Robertson. I've just finished recording one of the most beloved books in all the Bible, the Gospel according to John. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. My hope is that you will use this recording to allow the Word of God to abide in you. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. Listen to it again and again and speak the words along with me. Let these great passages fill your heart as the Word of God transforms your mind and builds your faith.
Receive the power of God's life-giving Word, the Gospel of John, read by Pat Robertson, available now.
May God richly bless you as you meditate on Jesus.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life, life to the fullest. Life in your family, life in your finances, life in your body, mind, and spirit, life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Kids. We want them to grow up knowing God's Word. But in today's busy world, sometimes we could use some help. The free Superbook Kids Bible app has fun stuff your kids will love. They'll have a blast learning the Bible, playing great games, watching cool videos,
Follow me!
discovering heroes in the Bible. They'll have fun while they learn God's Word. The Superbook Kids Bible app, available on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Americans are celebrating the Bible this week, and as Paul Strand reports from Capitol Hill, even Congress got in the act of diving into scriptures during National Bible Week.
Mr. Speaker, this Bible, it speaks to the greatness of God.
Congress noted this is the 75th year America has marked National Bible Week. For the special anniversary, several representatives took to the House floor to share some favorite scriptures.
But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night.
Colorado Congressman Doug Lamborn sponsored the event.
President Abraham Lincoln once said of the Bible, in regard to this great book, I have but to say it is the best gift God has given to man.
The head of the National Bible Association told CBN News Americans need to be reminded the Bible is there and it matters.
Probably about a third of us are reading the Bible regularly. So it's important to stop and remember this is a gift. Now, people in the Soviet Union that I worked with didn't have Bibles. They lived it. They had to meet in the forest or meet in secret gatherings, and they would share the word that way.
It offers us hope when circumstances are dire and is a source of strength.
National Bible Week isn't just some ceremony or event. It's a solid nationwide reminder that the Bible's important, life-changing. In fact, as the Gospel of John tells us, the Word is God. Paul Strand, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
Well, finally this week, Cliff Barrows, the longtime music director for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, has died at age 93. For decades, Barrows regularly led worship at Billy Graham crusades around the world. His directing helped prepare the hearts of thousands to receive the gospel. In his later years, Barrows stayed involved with the ministry, hosting the Hour of Decision radio program for nearly 60 years. Yet Barrows says he never forgot the thrills he got when singing the great classic hymns.
And I still get thrills in my heart and my body as I ask the people to sing All Hail the Power of Jesus' Name, or to lift their voice in singing Our God is an Awesome God. Some of the new contemporary songs that are wonderful, but the great hymns of faith, which are Billy's favorite, are the ones that we still enjoy and use the most in our crusade.
Well, thanks for joining us this week. Until next week, goodbye and God bless you.